There we go. Hey guys, how y'all doing? I'm Alex. We're here at the Randall County Republican headquarters. I have Tim Revelle, he's the county chair, and Travis Hayes, he's the vice chair. We are at 3219 South Commerce. If you ever have any questions, please come down and see us. Our phone number is 359-1606. And I'm Alex, the precinct chair for 111. And as I mentioned, Travis Hayes, he's the vice chair, and he's also the precinct chair over the 110. So tonight we have the great pleasure of having Bobby Ramirez on. Bobby, how you doing tonight?
Oh, we're doing great. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
You are so welcome. Let me read this little brief bio on Bobby so you guys out there can kind of know a little bit about him. So Bobby and his wife, Kristen, they are both graduates of Plainview High School and Texas Tech University. They have 3 children. Brett, a sophomore piano major at Texas Tech. Marjorie, she's 12 years old. Alicia, she's 8 years old. They have 2 cats and a dog. What are their names, Bobby?
Tabitha, Salem, and Chewy.
Okay.
Who's who?
I wonder how the dog got the name Chewy.
I've got a fence to show you.
Oh, there you go. Bobby's wife, Kristen, she homeschools their daughters. Bobby and his wife are actively involved with the Panhandle Christian Home Educators Association and are members of St. Anne's Catholic Church in Canyon and Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Plainview. So once again, Bobby, hey, thank you for spending some of your business time, your busy time, to come on tonight. I know it's Friday night. It may be date night for you guys. I don't know, but tell your wife we are very thankful. So thank you for coming on tonight.
Will do. Absolutely.
So Bobby, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Great bio. I'm so glad you started with my family and talking about my faith. Those things are central to my life. We can't even begin to discuss who I am without mentioning those. And that's who I am. After I met my wife in high school, we were high school sweethearts. We've been married since then. Both attended Texas Tech. I went to the University of Texas School of Law. After graduating from there, let me start with telling you this. All of my roots are in Plainview. My parents live there. Kristen's parents live there. For some reason, we got the notion of going to work in Dallas right out of law school. Spent a couple years as a practicing law in Dallas. Moved back to Amarillo in 2009. I live in Canyon, but I've been in Amarillo since then. I've been practicing law for about 15 years. And in 2015, I had the wonderful opportunity to join the 7th Court of Appeals as a senior staff attorney and general counsel. And I've been working there ever since.
Well, good deal. What compelled you, Bobby, to decide to run for this position?
That's a very good question, and I hope that all the candidates thought that through before running. And I'll tell you this: I worked for the judge who retired, Justice Patrick Hurdle. I would meet with him daily on cases. I worked for 6 judges over my tenure at the court, but I know the importance that this court has over the cases involving real people in the communities of the 46 counties that our district is made of. So we have appellate jurisdiction for the Texas Panhandle, essentially, from Oklahoma all the way south to Lubbock. We handle criminal appeals and civil appeals. We hear tough cases involving murder, people who have been sentenced to life in prison, all kinds of everything you can think of in between in the criminal world. We also handle the civil cases, such as the big lawsuits, those involving family businesses, and we handle family law, divorce cases, cases involving child custody. Being there and seeing the real record, knowing that these aren't just numbers, or knowing that these involve real lives that need real answers. I hope to offer what I've learned at the Court of Appeals, what I've learned for working for 6 judges over 8 years, and my passion for appellate law. I mean, this is absolutely this is for me. I've been really fortunate to have found what I'm good at, and I hope that everybody else does in life. And this is something that I enjoy doing, so much so that I'm now board certified in civil appellate law. And if I continue, I would like to be board certified in criminal law. What that means is you demonstrated your qualities or qualifications to this board of legal specialization, and you study intensely to pass an exam that has, 95% failure rate. So it's something I enjoy. I hope that by my expertise, adding my expertise and what I've learned from the judges, I can help the resolve cases fairly and partially and follow the law in what I do.
Good answer. Bobby, for folks that are out there, I have to say I was one of them. I really didn't know what the role of the appellate court was, and you and I spoke on that briefly. And what's the purpose of it? Is it like a quality control to make sure that the Constitution and all the rules and all the variables were being followed? Is that kind of a summarization, or can you kind of expand on that?
I think that's a pretty good summary of it. So our appellate jurisdiction means we essentially grade the papers of the trial courts, county and district courts in every single county, those 46. If there is an order or judgment that is issued by the trial court, any party can appeal that to our court. And that means we immediately have appellate jurisdiction over the case. We can review it and determine whether there was a legal error that the trial court issued in the trial court's judgment. And if so, we can reverse the judgment. If not, we affirm. In talking to you, I know that essentially it is quality control. We are looking to see, was the law followed? We're not trying to second guess what the trial court did, what the trial court saw. The jury and the judge are in the room when the trial occurs. They hear the evidence. They see people. They get to wait to determine credibility of witnesses, the importance and significance of evidence that's handed to them. We're not there to second guess that decision. We're there to make sure that the procedure, that their constitutional due process were followed, and that there was no essentially legal error that occurred on part of the trial court that needs to be fixed. Because at the end of the day, somebody loses. At the end of the day, somebody loses and somebody wins, and we hope that it's fair to all parties according to the law, which is what we're trying to apply. I did tell you one thing that I think a lot of people don't realize. Even if there is a legal error, part of our analysis, it's a two-step analysis. Did something wrong happen in the trial court process? Yes. If it did that cause harm? Did it cause an improper judgment? And we would only reverse if whatever was wrong caused the improper judgment. An example I gave you, and I won't name cases, there might be some evidence that was admitted at trial that should not have been. It was hearsay. It was unauthenticated. That's legal error. That should have been inadmissible. But yet we have video of the person shooting the person, so identity is not an issue. So whatever was admitted didn't affect the outcome, even though there was legal error. The court would affirm. So, and essentially what you described, it is quality control. We are trying to make sure that the trials that are occurring in our 46 counties and the judges and orders issued were done so correctly.
Okay, well, thank you.
One thing is a little bit of history. Originally, the court was set up that there would be one lawyer from Amarillo, one from Lubbock, and the other two judges would be from the outlying areas. And I think that was changed because of travel. And so now basically for the last few years, there has been two lawyers from Amarillo and two lawyers from Lubbock. At the present time, I think that there are three lawyers from Lubbock. And that's why it's really important that we get another person on that body to kind of represent this area, the northern part of the state, because that would be, there are certain things that are highly specific, both for Lubbock and for Amarillo.
That's correct. So for probably the past 20 years, that has always kind of been the case, that we've had two judges from essentially the Lubbock area and two judges from the Amarillo area. Often the judges would just move to Amarillo, and so they would all be here. But with being able to telework, we can work remotely pretty much now. We've had kind of them still residing in Lubbock, and right now we do have three. But we've had some very good judges from outside of the Lubbock or Amarillo area. Chief Justice John Boyd was from Plainview, and he was there he's been there. He actually passed away, but he had retired just a few years ago. It is important that we have a presence in Amarillo and in Lubbock of judges and lawyers from who are around here. I'm at the courthouse every day. I have the key to the court. I open it up, I turn the lights on. When it's time to go home, I turn the lights off and shut it down. Every single appeal that crosses our desk comes through me, because I'm the clerk of the court. So I know the importance of that the judges of their role, and I understand the significance of having representation kind of from all areas. So I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, I think that is one of the things. The industry especially is probably more oil centered down in the Lubbock area, where up here it's mostly farming, but there are oil problems. And so I think that is why they tried to even out those two areas.
That's very true. And now that we have, the Court of Appeals didn't always have criminal jurisdiction. We used to just be a civil Court of Appeals. In the 80s, the state legislature added that to our court. Now remember, this 7th Court of Appeals is one of 14 appellate courts across the state of Texas. The appellate courts are pretty much regional. So we have an Amarillo court, El Paso has a court. The Abilene Midland area have a court. It's actually located in Eastland. If you've ever been to Eastland, that's the 11th Court of Appeals. Fort Worth, Dallas, Austin, Houston, Tyler. I can go on and on. So it is important. They recognize the importance of having appellate judges who reside in this regional area. And now that we have criminal and family law cases, the judges who might be in the Lubbock area may not be as familiar with the Amarillo judges or community. So I agree that it is good to have this diversification of where our judges are from, and especially because lawyers, judges, and the community are involved. And I do agree that sometimes in Lubbock you kind of have a different economy than you do even in the Amarillo and up north. That's based on different types of work.
I see. Well, a while ago you kind of segued into what my next question is, and you spoke a little bit on it. And if you could expand on that, my next question is, what makes Bobby Ramirez the best candidate for this position?
I am very honored to even be included with all of the other candidates. I consider myself the best because I have the most appellate experience. I have direct experience working under 6 judges, appellate judges. I've prepared and drafted hundreds of opinions in criminal and civil cases. I've helped review and analyze cases for the last 8 years. Now, I practiced before then. I kind of give you the 8-year mark. I was doing civil litigation before then and had a very significant litigation experience. I was handling all kinds of cases. I initially started doing kind of insurance coverage work, very sophisticated kind of contractual work. And then when I moved to Amarillo, I was representing a lot of businesses and even individuals who were defending lawsuits. A lot of it was oil and gas. We had a ton of ranching cases. We represented a bunch of school districts involved in suits against insurance companies. So I did have a long practice before then, but when I joined the Court of Appeals, I kind of felt called not only to public service, but the ability to have a wider impact on the community, on the legal community, other than just the few cases I was involved in, and it's meant a world of difference. I'm the most qualified because I'm the most experienced. On day one, whoever is nominated will have the ability to sign orders and opinions of the court. They will have the ability to reverse trial courts, to remand cases of all these 46 counties. So we want somebody there who has the knowledge, the experience, and who we trust shares the same values as we do. Hopefully each of these candidates is conservative and Republican. I think that's very important. And we've been very fortunate in this area of the country to have had Republican judges who I know personally were very conservative, who shared very similar values to myself. And I hope we continue that. So I believe I'm the best candidate in a nutshell because of my experience, because of my qualifications, because of my dedication to appellate law, because of my commitment to public service. I'm technically a public servant. Well, I am a public servant as a government attorney who's worked for the court for 8 years. And I hope to continue that in my ability to review cases for the court and issue opinions for the court.
So what are some things that you want to look at day one if you get the nod? I mean, just so folks out there understand, this will be finishing out a 6-year term. I think the next, what you'll be doing is you'll be finishing out the 2 years, and then you'll run again for re-election, and that'll encompass another 6 years. And so what's something that you think you'll want to look at first, week one, if you do get the nod?
Week one, whoever comes in this position, we average about 400 to 500 appeals a year. Each judge is responsible for over 100 appeals. Week one, they're already going to have a backlog of a docket. They will have criminal cases that have been sitting there because we need a judge to issue orders and opinions. They'll have civil cases, family law cases, termination cases. Week one is understanding where our docket is. The people involved in the cases need answers. They need their legal disputes resolved. And for it to just kind of be waiting for this vacancy, it's kind of problematic, but that's just kind of where we are. Week one, address the cases that need to be resolved immediately and get to work. I'm a very hard worker. That's why I was appointed clerk of the court by all justices. They know my work ethic and they trust my experience and advice. As general counsel, I'm technically the lawyer for 4 judges. And that if you think clients can be hard, wait till your client actually writes the law for the state of Texas.
Yes.
So they trust my judgment enough on application of the law to be their general counsel for the court. That's day one. Day one is to wrap your head around where the docket is, see what needs to be addressed first. Step one would be to pray.
Sure.
Lord, please guide me in your wisdom and help me to do your will. But beyond step one, beyond getting a handle on the docket, beyond working hard to issue opinions, I think one of the other things, and this is something that I've done recently, is to continue the court's outreach to the counties to let them know who we are, what we're about. And I've spoken to a lot of counties in the past month. I was in Hansford County. I've been in Hutchinson and Bailey, Hockley. I mean, just all around. And I think it is important for county chairs, for the Republican Party to know what our court does and who we are. And I think it's still important for this November ticket to let them know that we have competent judges and that our court is important. And so, day one, let's get an idea of where the docket is, which I already know because I'm responsible for managing all of the cases. And let's start getting opinions out and issued so people's legal issues can be resolved.
Good, thank you. Travis, do you have anything you want to ask?
Yes, Bobby, I've got a follow-up question on the as a judge. I'm a constitutionalist, so we have in the appellate system what's called a three-stool precedent. I'd kind of like to know as a judge what your thoughts are on considering the Constitution as being the supreme authority rather than just going through a case on the precedents that were there.
Great question. So we have in Texas, we have several kind of overlaps of appellate jurisdictions. So I told you there were 14 other courts in the state of Texas. Each of those are issuing opinions daily. Now, our own precedents for our Seventh Court of Appeals means cases that we've issued, and that takes, I guess, that's kind of our primary. The other courts that are writing about this, which can be in Austin, which can be in San Antonio, where you have complete Democrats that are Democrat judges. For example, I don't think there's a single Republican judge in Austin or San Antonio. They're also writing opinions on the law. So our is primary. We can defer to some of their opinions if we think their analysis of the law is correct. Above us is the Texas Supreme Court and the Court of Criminal Appeals. Court of Criminal Appeals, they have appellate jurisdiction over our criminal cases, Texas Supreme Court over our civil cases. And above that is the U.S. Supreme Court, who it gets to determine what's constitutional and whether laws violate the Constitution. When a judge is sworn in, they swear to protect, preserve, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Texas Constitution and the laws of the United States and of this state. It is of utmost importance that in everything we do, we consider whether we are violating that Constitution, because that is our sworn oath. I'd also like to take just a second to tell you about my beliefs on the Constitution. I believe it should be strictly applied as written. And I say that not just from a standpoint of my conservative mindset. I say that from a practicality standpoint as a legal jurist. If we are not applying the Constitution as written, what are we doing? We are literally making it up. And that's what we've seen in several older U.S. Supreme Court cases, even older Texas Supreme Court cases. The Texas Supreme Court right now has made every single justice on the Texas Supreme Court is a Republican. In years past, that's not been the case. So I believe the Constitution it's not only central, it's foremost in a judicial mind when evaluating the law. And it's what we're sworn to do. I mean, if you take your oath seriously, that has to be in your mind in every case. When we see it come up most is typically in our criminal cases, where we have to consider the defendant's due process rights. We also see it come up when there's legislation that's trying to be attacked, either facially, meaning that as applied. So it does come up. It is something that's real. For example, Plainview, let me not speak to real cases. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have gone that far. There is a situation, Plainview may be able to pass a law and someone might be able to challenge that in Plainview in Hale County, and that would come to our court, and we would be asked then to evaluate whether that law was constitutional or not, according to Texas or the U.S. Supreme Court. we judges should be applying the Constitution as written and as the founding fathers intended, and not as something that we're pulling out from random places. So I hope that answered your question. If you have any follow-up.
Okay. Unrelated, I know of several cases of child custody cases where the couple the judge had actually processed the adoption, and yet in the adoption process, he allowed the biological family to maintain contact with the child. What are your thoughts about that?
We're kind of, I can't get too specific. As a judicial candidate, we can't speak to anything that might come before the court. But I can say this: if we're guided by the family code when it comes to adoption, and the family code has specific provisions. And if the trial court is following the family code, maybe our hands, and if the family code, and that's constitutional, then we must continue to apply the law as the legislature wrote it. And so that's where I would have to leave it. Just because judicial candidates and judges cannot speak to something that could possibly come before the court. But I've seen that come up before in our court. I'm sorry I cannot speak more on that because I do have an opinion.
No, that's fine. What happens when you receive a jury summons and you sit on you sit in the jury? I mean, what's that like? I mean, because the judge has to know, what you do. And I mean, do the lawyers, they probably don't even select you, do they? They just like, no, you're good. Go. Bye. See you later. Has that ever occurred where you sat on a jury and you just are just not even trying to micromanage but can't help it? I mean, has that ever happened? Tell us a funny story if you have one.
I do have one.
You
can. This was when I was actually still in private practice. Right before I joined the court, I had a trial against, well, actually it was an arbitration against an attorney. And it kind of split the baby, so there wasn't really hard feelings. And I got a jury summons like a week, it must have been about a month later. And the opposing counsel was in that trial. He was representing one of the parties, and then another attorney who had a very, and this tells you a lot about myself. Even if we were opposing counsel, people always felt comfortable calling me. They knew that I had integrity. I was not out to play games. So I can't name the two attorneys. They're well known in Amarillo. I was sitting in the jury panel thinking these guys are going to strike me because I just got through trying a case against one of them, and the other one I know very well. And anywho, lo and behold, neither struck me. And I'm thinking that's telling you something, that if the guy that I just tried a case with didn't strike me, he trusts that I'm going to do it.
Good point.
So it was. It did go. It was in Randall County. I sat on the trial. I was the foreman. I'm not supposed to speak about the law. Only about when you're in the jury room, you cannot. Even though I have expertise on the law, I couldn't say anything except for what the charge asked. And I know that they were asking me kind of my stuff. You know what I did? I kind of sat back and I asked everybody else what they thought. And you know what? After discussing it and going round and round and round, they got it right. They got it right. And I had very little involvement in it. I was almost an impartial kind of mediator. I was going to let it play out as it did. And I talked, this is probably so much to say, I talked to the foreman right before we gave our verdict. And he said, y'all found this and y'all did this, didn't y'all? And he wasn't listening. And I said, yes, we did. He goes, I kind of got a knack for figuring it out. If you do it right, he knew. So he knew that we had let everybody speak. And so actually I had a really good, I enjoyed it. It was kind of being able to sit back, be in the jury spot, understand what evidence is presented to you, understanding that you have all these ideas and things are going in your mind. And then I was in the room when they discussed them, and they might have been off a little place, but with 12 people who are all trying to do their best and be fair, our system is set up to get it right. I absolutely believe in our jury system, 100%.
Good.
They're going to get it right.
Well, good deal. Well, listen, we're at 6:30 now. I want to thank you so much for taking some time to come on. I do want to give you the opportunity to finish us out and tell everyone out there once they see this why they should consider you.
Okay. Thank you. If you are watching this, thank you for hearing me out. I hope I didn't speak too long. I am a West Texas born and raised. I'm so proud to have been from Plainview. And I know people are from all over the place. I'm so proud to have gone to Lubbock and Texas Tech. Growing up, to me, that was the only college I knew. It was nearby. I love being from the Panhandle. I love being around West Texas people. I am so happy that I got to meet the opportunity to meet so many of you chairs, county chairs, precinct chairs. It gave me delight to know that West Texas is putting up the good fight. We're doing the good thing. I myself have loved working for the court. I enjoy every part of it. I'm so happy that I've had that opportunity. I hope I continue to have that opportunity to represent you as a justice on this court to help resolve legal disputes in your lives that matter. And I'm asking for your nomination. And if nominated, I hope that I can continue to serve this court as long as I can, as long as I'm there.
There you go. Well, thank you once again. Tell your family thank you. And I want to let everyone out there know when you guys see that or see this, we will give Alex Yarborough time. We're going to be on next week with him. He's another candidate from this area, from Amarillo, that'll be bidding for the nod. So once again, Bobby, thank you. Any of you guys want to say anything about the headquarters?
Thank you, Bobby.
Thank you very much. And we wish you good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, for all you guys out there, remember we're at 3219 South Commerce. Our number is 806-359-1606. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to give us a call. Come on in. We have merchandise up here to buy, shirts, hats, banners. And we love serving you guys. We're elected officials as well. And we love our community. We love our city. And we're here for you. Bobby, you have a great night.
Y'all too. See y'all.
Thank you.